Welcome to episode 51 of Sport SA Daily Diary. Today we're chatting to South African triathlete Carl Buckingham.
Good.
How's it, Carl? How are you doing?
Hi, good. Thanks, and you, Adam?
Yeah, very good, thank you. How's the lockdown been treating you so far?
It's it's been pretty tough, but I'm really lucky that I've got a treadmill and inside the house, and as well as like an indoor trainer, so I can still cycle. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to maybe going for a bike ride tomorrow morning, getting out there for the first time in 5 weeks. It's been a long time, but yeah, and maybe go to the hairdresser as well sometime soon. So yeah.
My wife took clippers to my head a couple of weeks ago. It was just getting a bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
Carl, you started triathlon very late in life.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about before you were doing triathlons. School, growing up, were you very sporty?
So not very sporty at school. I did play some hockey and a bit of tennis in the standard 6, standard 7. And then I got into surfing, and I started surfing at the age of 14 till I was about 19, when things changed, when I finished studying, and then I moved over to the UK. But not much endurance sports when I was young. Just I loved skateboarding and rollerblading and things like that. But yeah, I got into training for triathlons at the age of I was 24 when I actually started running.
Yeah.
I never wanted to run. Like before that, I was like, I'll never ever run. And started running and started loving it. And actually, I used to just run on the treadmill before a gym session with my buddy. And then before you know it, I started triathlon, and here we are today.
And before you started the running at the age of 24, were you in shape, or, I mean, did it take you a while to get into it?
Yeah, I wasn't really. I wouldn't say I've never been. Yeah, I've always been kind of an active person, but I wasn't really in shape for to start running. So it took me a bit of time. I used to run maybe, I don't know, 40 kilometers. Try and put in 40 kilometers a week, and I used to run like 10 kilometers before a gym session,
Yeah.
just to like warm up, and then so it took me a bit of time. So I got some roosters, yeah. But it took me a bit of time. It took me at least 4 to 6 months before I was running like 60, 70 kilometers with no problem.
Yeah. And I mean, going from sort of no specific active sport, obviously you were active, but not going from anything sort of full on to doing 3 disciplines in one go. I mean, that's quite a full on demand on yourself.
Yeah, it definitely was. Luckily, I could swim because of my surfing background. So swimming wasn't really like a huge issue. I didn't really have to go for lessons. You know, I swam with my brother. He was also in the UK. We worked together, and I swam with him a lot, like before work or after work. So he gave me some great tips for swimming, and he was always much better than me, and so that pushed me along. But 3 disciplines. You know, I'm quite a when I do something, I like to do something like quite addicted, and so 3 disciplines didn't really faze me too much, but the time that I had to put in for training was quite a lot. Like I was working as a full-time as an electrician, and I would only finish work at 4:30. I'd get home at like 5:30, and then I would train from 5:30 till 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. And then I used to eat dinner. And that was pretty much, it took 2-3 years. That was like that for 2-3 years, every single day.
And was your brother doing a similar sort of training, or was he just more?
No, my brother he's done 2 Ironman South Africas. And, but back then he was just swimming. He was just keeping fit, but he's come from a swimming background. You know, he even got a bursary to go over to the US when he was in matric. So he was always a really good swimmer. And then we just swam together pretty much. I couldn't put in a lot of swimming because the gyms over there opened only at like 6:30 in the morning. So it was, and you needed to drive to work. So all I could do is fit in like 2 kilometers. That was all I could swim, was 2 kilometers, and I'd probably swim maybe 4 times a week. So I was only swimming 8Ks a week. But it's still my first Ironman. I didn't really do too badly either. So I was really happy with that.
And was there much competition between your brother and yourself?
Not really. We haven't really, no, not much competition at all. Maybe in the pool a little bit, but I was always, I'm never as good as him. So I used to just sit behind him and try and come as close as I could to our intervals. But we never really had like a very strong competition between ourselves.
Okay.
But we did the one year in 2011. He did the Ironman South Africa, and we actually swam side by side, sandwiching Chrissy Wellington, which she was a 4 or 5-time world champion, and we swam with her the whole way. So that was a really cool experience. And then we tried to follow her on the bike, and then we got blown out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So that was good fun. Oh, that one.
Yeah.
You turned pro in 2014 and very quickly went on to win your first race in the US. That's impressive, seeing the field that you're up against.
Yeah. So 2013 was basically still to this day, one of my best years I've ever put together from start to finish. And, after in 2013, I was still an amateur, and I basically won everything in my age group that I set out to do. And there was only one way of moving forward, and that was going pro. And so it started off with a great result at Ironman South Africa, actually, where I came second overall. And that was like that was still one of my most amazing results, just because it was my first pro Ironman race, and it was here in my hometown. And then with the Lake Placid win in the north of New York, that was really special to win my first Ironman. And that was actually probably that Ironman is one of the oldest Ironmans in the world. I think it was the second ever Ironman to open after Hawaii. So it's got a lot of history to it, and it also hosted the Winter Olympics one of the years. So it's good.
And since then, you've won 2 more. You won in the US again in 2016, and you won the African leg in 2018. That must have been a great one to win.
Yeah, so 2018 was definitely the best result I've ever had. Just not just because it was in my hometown and I've worked so hard at it, but it was just the whole day. Just I couldn't have asked for a better day or how I felt. It was just literally I walked on water. It was just one of those days you have in sport where everything from start to finish just goes completely together and everything. Yeah, so that was an incredible feeling to do it in front of everybody as well.
And Carl, now that you're a pro, do you dedicate a large amount of hours during the day to your training? I mean, what does a day in the life of Carl look like?
Yeah, so when I'm in heavy training, I could train probably about 35 hours a week, maybe get up to about 38, 40 hours a week. But yeah, so I'll try to do all three disciplines in one day. But I swim probably about 5 days a week, bike 5 to 6 times a week, and then run six times a week. And so first thing, we'll try and swim in the morning, but if I don't swim in the morning, it'll be onto the bike. So I could swim anywhere between 4 or 5 kilometers, maybe 6 kilometers, and then come home, jump on the bike from anywhere between 2 hours and 6 hours. So it's a long day. And then in the evening, after a bit of rest at home, after afternoon sleep. Oh, sorry, I got the cat on my leg.
Uh,
After a good afternoon sleep, then I'll do a run session for like an hour.
okay.
And Sundays are my long run, so you'll be running like 2.5 hours, 3 hours. Yeah.
That must put a little bit of strain on the family in terms of spending quality time with your wife.
Yeah, it is. It does, but it's quite tough sometimes. But my wife's very supportive. She, does literally everything around the house, and just from every, like, I don't know. She's a qualified sports massage therapist as well,
Oh,
so
perfect.
that really helps me sometimes. But yeah, it does get a bit tedious because you are training all the time, and it becomes quite a selfish sport and not much time to do anything else. But yeah, I mean, I'm starting to get to that stage where I'm reducing the amount of hours that I train. I just can't put those 40-hour weeks in anymore. It's on the body. It's a bit takes a bit of a toll. So like 30 hours is a really good week for me, and I feel that's where I perform my best. And not overtraining the body too much.
And have you used this lockdown period as a kind of forced resting period? I've chatted to a couple of runners in the last few weeks, and they've all said that they're actually using this period to kind of calm down and give their bodies some well needed and sustained rest.
Yeah, so with the lockdown now, I've reduced the amount of hours. So I only train maybe 18 to 20 hours a week. I'm really focusing on some like intensity work. And then, I haven't been really hammering the body too much, though, especially the running. I'll maybe do one, maybe two sessions that are real quality and speed on the run. But I've built up this fitness from December, and it's really hard to let go of that, just because you don't know if a race is going to come up in July or August, maybe in Europe. You just don't know, and you don't want to. I do want to race badly, so I don't really want to have another month break that I normally do in December and November, because it's quite hard to just get back to this level. So it's not a nice feeling when you're unfit.
No, absolutely. And it always seems to take a lot longer to get back than it does to lose it. Carl, you've obviously got quite a few sponsors, and you're highlighting them on your shirt there. For sort of advice for young athletes, how imperative is your performance in terms of keeping the sponsors? So obviously you've got them on board now, and you obviously need to maintain a set level. But do they actually put stipulations in contracts to say, okay, you need to come in the top 10 of this many races or anything like that?
No. So with my sponsors, there hasn't really been real pressure to do well. They don't. I haven't really had a sponsor that's really put huge amounts of pressure for me to do well, and I have to get these results in this year in order to remain with my sponsorship for the following year. It's more about having a good relationship with your sponsors, doing like things on social media for them, personality, opening up to them, helping them how they can improve as a company. I wear all the cycle kits and the running shoes and all that thing. So it's good to always. I know you want to get on with your training, and that's the last thing you want to be doing is reaching out, and you just want to rest and stuff. But it's really you need to have a good relationship, and that's one of the things I would recommend is people want to see your personality. Number one, they want to see your drive and passion that you have for the sport. So definitely having a good relationship with them is really good.
And Carl, of the three disciplines, do you have a favorite, or are they all just?
Yeah, my least favorite would be swimming, I'd say. I think if anything, I would rather go and have a surf than have a swim. But no, I'd still do put in the swimming. But if the waves are good, then I will then I will go surf for 2-3 hours, which is equivalent to probably an hour good swim in the pool. And then my favorite, I would say, in the last 2 years, have become my running. I've really become a much better runner, more consistent, pacing wise in races, and but I don't know, running and cycling. I love them both. I love them both. I loved cycling a lot, and I love cycling outside because the reason why I love cycling outside so much now is because back in the day, all I did was cycle indoors, what we've been doing for the last 5 weeks. So I've probably in London 3 years of constantly riding indoors, and probably on a Saturday maybe get outside and ride down to Brighton and back in the UK. So that was my 180 Ks that I used to do. But yeah, so I'm an outside guy now.
And Carl, do you have any superstitions or sort of rituals that you do before a race that you do every race?
No, not really. I don't really have any superstitions. I tend to tinker around with my bike in the morning for a lot longer than I actually need to, which is quite a bad habit, because you just want to get somewhere, warm up for the swim, and you don't need to spend 30 minutes at your bike. I've been trying to become better at that, but you always want to make sure that everything is, like absolutely perfect. But that's something, but not really too many superstitions or anything like that.
Okay. And what does the future hold for you, Carl? Obviously, you've been to Kona 7 times. Kona being like the pinnacle or the holy grail for triathletes. What does the future hold? Are you obviously going to attempt to win at Kona at some point? Are you going to carry on with triathlon, or?
Yeah, I would love to carry on with triathlon, for at least I'm hoping another 6 more years. I'm 36 now, and I feel that I do have another 6 more years in me for sure, just because I started late. I started my first races when I was 25. So I do think, 6 more years, and I do want to go back to Kona. I haven't showed my potential there at all as a professional. I still believe one of my best races was when I was in age group, and I held the course record over there for 5 years. It got broken 2 years ago. That was just an amazing day, coming 16th overall. I mean, that was just incredible out of 50 pros or 60 professionals. But I still feel like I'm still hungry to do well at Kona. I even, if a top 5 will satisfy me before the end of my career. But there's a lot of other races that I want to do, and I still want to keep doing well here at Ironman South Africa. That's my other goal, and maybe just keep up that consistency, because it's really hard to go on such a high and then go on such a low, and then like last year I just had a really bad year. Nothing went right the whole year last year. So just keep that consistency up as an athlete, I think will be I'll be really happy with.
And I mean, you mentioned the low of last year. How do you actually get yourself out of that low? Because it can quite easily suck you in.
Yeah, it was tough. Literally everything went wrong that it could have gone wrong last year. Absolutely, it was tough. But then I remember when I'm in such deep lows, is that I can have incredible highs, such as a win at Ironman African Champs, and that's what would get me back training, because I'd be like, well, there's hope to still do well because you've done well before. So that really motivates me to keep training. Plus, I love the sports. I love doing it. My sponsors back me, and I want to also make them proud, and they're with me. So I've got to put in the hard work. But last year was just a nightmare.
Just in closing, Carl, you mentioned earlier about obviously starting a bit late in your career. We chatted to Gillian Sanders as well, who also started quite late in her career and has also had much success in not her later years, but in sort of, your mature years of late
Yeah,
30s. Do you really feel that it makes a difference having that experience and that know-how over the youngsters who might just go balls to the walls right from the outset?
for sure. Definitely. I think having experience, gaining experience with loads of racing behind you is probably the number one thing, because like I've seen it myself when I was in my second, third year as a professional, guns blazing on the bike, and then get to the run and then come fifth, and you're like, well, what happened there? I was feeling so good. But it's how you pace yourself and how you spread yourself over those 8+ hours, or under 8 hours if it's a good day. But so in 2018, that's where the maturity of racing really came in. Was like I still did really good work on the bike, but I left something, because I still, before the race I was saying, well, I still got a marathon to do and I want to do a good marathon. So what do I need to do to have a good marathon? And that was just not going too hard on the bike, because I mean, if you go too hard on the bike, you might lose 5-10 minutes on the marathon. So if you pace yourself correctly and have that experience, then yeah. And it's hard to do that when you're new to the sport and you're young and you're eager and it takes a lot for someone to say, well, don't go too hard in the beginning when you're feeling good. Some guys risk it and they do really well. Some guys they're just diesel engines. They can just go for hours and at that pace. So it's. But yeah, what I've seen in the past where I've had great results is that I've really paced it correctly.
Carl, it's been brilliant chatting to you. Thank you so much for your time today on Sport SA Daily Diary. Good luck with the upcoming training, and hope to see you on that top step at Kona sometime soon.
Yeah, thanks so much.
All right, take care.
Cheers.
Catch us again tomorrow on Sport SA Daily Diary, where we'll be chatting to South African short distance, middle distance and marathon runner Renee Kalmer.